welcome back to the Roadkill Drums podcast.
Are we having fun?
I'm gonna bang a drum. Oh shit, I died. Let me go.
Anyways,
again on my own.
we've been trying to get these gloves off. I've been wearing them all day long.
Ooh, I know that feeling.
Today has been hot rodding day.
Ooh, all right. Building or riding or both?
I guess you would call it building hot rodded parts for the drum set.
Oh, gotcha. I get you. I remember you describing you creating your custom build out for your drums as hot rodding it. So that's clicking back now. I'm with you. Uh-oh. Connection unstable. What? No. At least at this time, it looks like it's a service issue. So I will say our setup is fixed. You can tell it's a lot smoother between us, but there is a storm blowing through, which is what that smacking sound is you're hearing in the background, because it's blowing the shutters on the outside of the studio. Either that or the neighbors are really getting it on.
And not very good time.
Sounds like you could film some interesting adult movies.
Well, if that's the case, we need to teach this guy a sense of rhythm, because that poor girl's never going to get there at this rate.
I got to plug in the earphones so I can back up myself, make sure that we have a backup. Are you able to hear me through the headphones pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you through the headphones.
Okay,
I've got you.
cool.
Like we've got you actually wired into the board, so it's like we're just on a call and we have headphones. We can hear you through here. If I take these off, I can't hear you anymore. You're just in the headphones now. Helps make things smoother. Smooth operator.
Well, I kind of charged up everything ahead of time and set up something here. While you guys are by yourself, we just I don't know what here. Can you see the TV?
I can see like the third of the TV. There we go. I can see like a little over half of it now.
There it is.
Now there it is. Ooh, nice TV.
So what we're gonna do is this here.
I can tell you have an iPhone because it's automatically adjusting and zooming in and zooming out and all the cool stuff. All the fancy tech.
I really, really like this thing. It's very, 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 very nice.
Let me see if I can shut that damn thing down.
Will you do
All right,
me a
you're fine.
favor?
We're not
Give me that
rolling this
remote
yet.
control?
I'm going to turn your headphones down real quick so we don't get that feedback again.
Yeah. Do that.
Yeah, I can hear the whole
Welcome to Jurassic
the whole thing,
Park.
and it's not even up. We've been dealing with this tech issues all damn day, and I had to actually pull out the old school DVD player. So
Oh, there you go. If it makes you feel any better, my dad still has a VHS player.
I actually did some of my refreshing, I guess, camera wise and angles and stuff for my video.
Yeah.
And some of it was on VHS.
That's awesome. Old school film.
What I'm trying to find right now is the small disc. Can you bring me my disc? Or do I need to get it?
I got a question because I really need to know, do you ever get tired?
Yeah, I can hear you really well, so this should be all right.
We can hear you super clear.
Let's see, this is the DVD here.
There you go. Drummer and his salsa.
That's a truck.
Cool.
That thing goes, that's a low rider. The thing's all the way up in 4-wheel height so that I can go anywhere hunting, things like that. It's a pretty nice little system.
Heck yeah, man. Looking forward to bringing that up.
I'm rebuilding it right now, so it's what I'm trying to hope for is if I can get this thing to mirror when I need to. I'm used to being my own engineer, can you tell?
Yeah, no, I love it. So's he. Like, buy drums, I'll just build them.
You know,
It's not cheaper to build them.
I didn't think that it was.
it is. You can even say that about buying them when it comes down. Don't do this to me now, please.
Stick it in, spin it around.
So here we go.
Divided by fear, one drummer and his salsa will conquer the world. I don't know.
Hopefully. I guarantee you haven't tasted anything like it. My mom came up with this I think I was about 12 years old when this thing came about. So
that's awesome. Well, if we ever get the chance to meet face to face, I hope to get the opportunity to try it. That would be wonderful.
That's one of our usually our smoothies when we come and meet people to bring the salsa.
Oh no, I get it. A good friend of mine, his family's from Las Vegas, and his aunt made the family salsa, and it was, to this day, it's the best salsa I've ever had. But I ain't never tried salsa that saved somebody's life before.
Have you got any volume from this television at all?
I can hear it, if that's what you're asking. There's no way I can control it.
No. Are you able to hear it?
Yes, we can hear it. I'm over here rocking out.
Okay. That's good. That was the testing point. I didn't know if I was giving any. All right. Now you guys get ready for, you probably won't have a dry eye on you, but the production's not all that long. It's pretty good.
He was so afraid. He didn't know if he was going to be able to play.
Yeah.
And then when he started playing it, it sounded like he'd never stopped playing it. That was really exciting.
I came about being handicapped by 2005. I was shot in a home invasion. I had to change a whole lot about my life immediately. It was to adapt to, first of all, being in a wheelchair, trying to take things one step at a time, even though I wasn't walking. I couldn't understand that concept. Nobody presented a wheelchair as a tool. It was presented to me as a way of being depressed, down. Everything that you see that is about wheelchairs is usually something like negative. I guess you would probably say negativity comes from wheelchair. You're struggling most of the time.
When I walked into the apartment, and the police told me I could clean it up and get his things, I drove up and I looked up and there was a wood over covering the window, and I had a key, and I walked in. It was amazing. The carpet was real hard and crunchy. And then I looked around and on the walls, and there was stuff splattered all over the walls, and I was like, what's that blood? What happened in here? And I was looking, and I kind of tiptoed around, and there was this long strip of blood that went that way, all the way to the bathroom, and then to the bedroom. And I walked around it, and I walked in, and huge stain of blood, and stain of blood on the wall, and his bed was all thrown. Everything was thrown everywhere.
Fearless.
And I didn't get scared. I was just looking around and I said, well, where was he like this when they shot him in the back of the head, or was he on the ground when they shot him in the back of the head? Or where was he? How did they have him? Then I walked into the kitchen again, and I got this real great feeling, and I left. And I left the house, I left the apartment, locked it up, and I walked out, and this white van drove by, and I knew the white van was the van they were looking for. The van had decided to bring a white van. And I got really scared, and I left, and I went back to the hospital. Yeah.
She prayed those prayers over and over so much they were literally worn out completely.
How do you get equipment in and out? I mean, how you doing that? How was that? Well, I started off trying to put hard cases together and then, put his drum in like you would and then use the power chair to push it. But I realized that it was easier to put a drum inside of a soft case and I could hold it as it was a luggage, set it onto my knees. The chair actually allows a little bit of manipulation, so that it kind of becomes a forklift. So you're able to move things.
You guys hear me?
I like how you turned yourself into a
It makes you
forklift.
a better person. Definitely has. Makes me a better person. Number one, I'm more forgiving. Number two, I'm more dedicated to my art than I was in the beginning. I'm more dedicated to family, which probably should have been number one on my list. But my faith is probably strengthened in tenfold. Unfortunately, I wish I could say it was an accident, but this was a home invasion. It was an intentional. Somebody had an intentional desire to harm me when they came to the front door. When I looked through the peephole, I saw a police officer. When I heard the knock at the door, I heard open the doors to the police. I didn't have to worry, so I opened the door to what I thought was going to be a police officer, only to get shot 4 times. Be in a survival situation of a lifetime, one's directly in the back of my head. 2 shots were in my neck, and the one that paralyzed me of all was the one that hit my shoulder and deflected into my spinal cord. They had me against the wall in what I guess they call the assassination position, and he told me to pray, and I said, God's not going to, God doesn't care. And he said, wrong answer. And he pulled the trigger, and I heard the misfire of the primer, which 22 bullets should not misfire, 25, 30. And I heard the most disgusting thing I had ever heard was, son, you gotta finish him. He shot me in the back of the head, point blank, and turned up my eyes, realizing that I wasn't dead. And I remembered hunting, and that a dead animal would stare up, and you had no choice but to poke it to make sure it was not alive, so you wouldn't get kicked. So that's what I did, was trim my eyes up, pretended I was dead, and he stabbed me, kicked me. Last thing I remember was walked out the door, and I saw 2 sets of shoes.
He committed suicide
Looks like what I'm wearing today.
after 1 year after he got out of jail.
What you would consider, I guess, skater attire. What I thought might be gangster attire. And he shut the door and he locked it behind him. I realized that I was paralyzed from that point. I was able to pretend that I was dead. Crawled away. Being a drummer, I was pretty strong, and I climbed for a living in the music business, setting up lights. So I think that was probably fortunate. Thanks to my mom, Salsa, guess what's made us the successful people that we are. If I hadn't made any that night, I would have been able to throw the guitars through the window. Got somebody's attention. Call 911. I was technically dead.
I reached up minutes.
Well, we take our salsa very serious here in Mexico.
I started making it in 1984. My mom and dad always had a garden, so they had a lot of chili and tomatoes, and they were overrun by.
Do something with it.
And one night, I think it was on a Friday night,
These are
me
custom
and
made.
Roman said he wanted some salsa. And I said, well, I'm not going to go to the store and get you any salsa now. It's too late. My mom says, why don't you make some? I said, I don't know how to make salsa. I never made salsa. She
She
said,
still
well,
looks the
you
same.
all the potatoes and chili, you need. There's onions and everything. Just do it. So I did it. And it was amazing. They ate the whole bowl right away. I mean, I made a big old huge bowl of it.
And we got sick.
The next day, we wanted more. So I made more. We thought of marketing it as the salsa that saved
Yeah, you don't want to eat a
Roman's life.
bowl of salsa. Of course, she doesn't tell. It was a bunch of people there.
My cousin Johnny Cedillo. He was working as the 911 operator that night, and I can't even imagine the shock to hear somebody say that Roman Castillo was dying in front of him, and what do? He managed to keep the person calm and got me home to the hospital, where I called home for about 3 to 6 months rehabbing. I had 2 kids that I had to get back to, so I needed to make sure I got back home, take care of
My son was 5, my daughter was 7.
That was probably the biggest emotional accomplishment that I had to overcome, was how do you be a father to somebody who could walk and run when there was no more piggybacks, there was no more running and kicking the ball. In my opinion, I would never dance with my daughter on her wedding day.
I did, by the way.
Good intentions, good friends, people that had disabilities that were similar to mine, that showed me they could dance in a wheelchair, they could sing from a wheelchair. There was even people that painted from wheelchairs and didn't cry over their situation, and they couldn't even move their hands. I realized that what I had to overcome was probably a lot less than what overcome in a long time.
How do you overcome obstacles?
Well, I get a lot of people that ask a lot of questions about what I have done to, say, to overcome playing the drum set. And I've been wanting to give you guys answers. I have some things that are they're on the way. Technology has enabled me to do things with an acoustic drum set and not have to go to an
We'll talk
electronic
about
drum
that
set,
too.
which I've always felt like was cheating in the first place. Putting my bass drums to the side gave me the ability of sounding more like the average drummer, whatever that may be. Because we all know that drummers started with somebody playing a bass drum, another drum playing a cymbal
See that?
behind that xylophone.
Yeah, doing it with your jaw.
So all those iterators that came and gone, those are the ones that we really need to do.
What about your confidence?
I actually feel real comfortable in my skin. For a while, I had a lot of people that would, I guess, doubt the fact that I might be able to get through a normal gig. And that was probably my biggest accomplishment, was to increase the stamina long enough to play through.
That was
Even
hard.
the 3-minute song.
Hard to get stamina. But only about 2-3 minutes.
My biggest influence is probably Johnny Cash, of all people. He just took a hard life and ran with it and became who he is. As far as being drummers, everybody always admires the big guys, which some of them are long gone. Number one would probably be Buddy Rich on my list. There are many other drummers out there that make these drummers look like they have been there and gone somewhere. But the old big band sound is where I get most of my influence.
In relations to Randy Castillo, drummer for Ozzy,
I get asked that question all the time. During my playing as a young man, I lied many, many times and said that guy was my cousin, not knowing that he had nobody that I could have been a cousin to. I ran into him in a music store in Denver, Colorado, and being such a good guy that he was, I reached out and I said, "My name's Roman Castillo," and he says, "Hey, you're the one that's supposed to be my cousin." I said, "Oh my God." My embarrassment, I was petrified. He said to me in the convoy, he told me, he says, "You know, I probably would have done the same thing in your position, just get into the band. But it was nice to meet you." And he left. I never got to see him again. He died after that. So throughout my life, I got compared to him, my biggest influence.
That was a band called Not Right.
Not right.
K-N. Yeah, K-N-O-T-R-I-T-E.
Okay.
Very, very, very hardcore punk. Very, very intense punk. One of the songs was "I like the Pope. The Pope smokes dope," so you gotta go with that. But as you can tell, the setup has changed quite a bit.
I wanted to bring up is that I take old instruments. If there's anybody out there who has instruments that are sitting in their garage, they're
So make sure that we
I'll have them there by
get anybody on your site.
It doesn't matter whether it's drums. I take
Donate your instruments. I'll get them to somebody.
There have been many people that have had disabilities that music has brought them straight. You can go all the way back in time, blind guitar players, blind drummer, blind.
It'll get released.
Big ball. You act by everybody is coming to mind for some reason. It's blanking out. Ray Charles is probably one of the big ones that comes to mind. Coming about at the time of the 50s and all the discrimination issues that were going on, I think that's probably the band that took a disability to a handy capability, and that's what we're trying to accomplish these. I have nobody look at your chair, look at the person sitting in the chair, the intelligence of the person. Those are the things that we really want to be noticed for. Everybody falls. Whether you're walking, you fall. Whether you're on a chair, you fall. It's about getting up, continuing.
What do you think about technology today?
First, I thought that the computer was going to malfunction the second I touched it. And as I had said in the beginning, I thought that it was cheating to use this new technologies when it was actually a way to take a step forward.
I like that take. I like that opinion.
The Logic program was going to give me the ability
I like the hat
to
too.
write
That's
all
awesome.
music and submit it to somebody else and say, are you able, do you like this?
I was representative for the
As
Catholic
I had come across using triggers,
medical.
I just didn't feel comfortable using triggers, so I started talking to Anger Corporation about coming up with a different way to operate a trigger system for the bass, and now we actually have a mechanical system which will operate. I can't go all the way into detail because we're working on patents, but I guarantee you guys will like this. It will allow me to play drums with the use of my mouth, just like we've done for years and years and years. I guess everybody spoke language in the middle.
That's wild. I can't imagine that learning
works
curve.
for the best. I was still holding in a lot of anger chords.
Believe it or not, it wasn't just that.
Just if you were walking on your own.
I believe it.
Right. That. And
Because you're descriptive as a drummer.
I really apologize to a lot of the people
So you kind of
that deal with me.
I have a 4-year-old who's practicing playing. The amount of time I hear boots and cats around the house is amazing.
Typical wheelchair person when you come across on the street. That's not what I had ever been. I never was a negative person growing up. I worked for
we're all pretty much musical.
Lessons Music when they first started on Lomas, and I was a totally different person there. And actually, at that time, I believe that I learned more about the music business just by seeing how they do it.
Very hard environment.
Tell me about local music store.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Ollie, I just want to say one thing. Straight to you. I would have fired me too.
Yeah, I would have.
Thanks for staying, my friend. Without Nick and Kenny working me over and over and over again, I probably wouldn't know what I was saying.
He just passed away last year.
Last week, you said?
Last year.
Oh, last year. Gotcha.
I read it would be
102 years old.
but man, that'll maybe overcome my
Played until he died.
fear of being in front of all these people because these people were being critical. They
Guitar
wanted
Man
to
was
see
real
the
hard
best and
too.
they didn't give me any breaks. I was very appreciative that I didn't get any breaks because I wanted to prove that I could be a drummer and not a quote unquote paraplegic drummer, which I've been told by many people to take the title away because I stand up with any other drummer. Why classify myself as a paraplegic drummer? I'm just a drummer like the rest of you. Many of you guys that want to make it out there are going to make it. Whether you want to take the time is up to you.
He was going to go to medical school. He said, Mom, I'm going to support you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to make all kinds of money, and I'm going to take care of you. He was ready to go.
My best roadie has been my mom. Yep. That everybody else has come to work for me. And,
I saw her walk through. I was like, I recognize her.
Work. The day that I threw my set over and told everybody in my house that I was going to burn the set and give up, my son, instead of doing what I said, I believe I did that, and throwing everything away, he went and he set up everything piece by piece by piece, which was the set that Mark Handi did the first video on the white, and was I was able to sand it and make it look like it hadn't been through the trouble that had been through it. But I didn't really
appreciate the restoration of that. That's the things there.
As a father of young kids, I'm going, well, I see he came by the stubbornness, honestly.
Was throwing my fit because being spoiled already.
Like I'm saying here.
Just getting things for me.
And everybody was going here.
Felt bad that I was injured. And it was already time for somebody to stop getting me.
Hey, Sabian, how much did
you noticed that? And he picked up the drums, picked them up, and staged them perfectly when I went in to go and play. And like there was the drum set on the seat. And he said, Daddy, he told me you never quit. And my heart sank.
The pressure's on. You know, it's always in the pressure.
Oh, yeah.
I said, I will not quit. And here I am quitting. So that day I rolled myself back in and started again.
I don't think it's quitting though. You came to a point where you had to transform.
Yeah, man. That was a trip. That was a trip.
I mean, I was like looking back on these pictures of like you and your kids and stuff growing up. For us, like as someone who didn't know you through these years, it's like it's cool to be like, oh man, look at this life that he's lived. What a beautiful life. But for you, I know that holds a lot more weight with you, and it's you know what like the air smelled like in every single one of those clips. Like that's just a cool thing to think about.
Always smiling was good.
My mom was smiling.
One more thing in general, because without my mom, I went through so much. Moms don't usually stick by people. I mean, they always say mothers will stick by you through whatever. But in all reality, I've seen a lot of people that their mothers left them hanging and splitting in situations where they were lost, like this was. I'd have been scared. But she held my hand. 14 days later, I woke up to see the same
It's okay, Sabian. I got to reach her.
Lots of people tend to ask me about my children and how they got through being in a wheelchair. I think they were probably the most positive aspect in my life.
You're funny.
Teaching me how to read because I couldn't.
I forgot what you told me that.
I know.
I remember writing cat and dog on the dust board that was there, and my son wouldn't dare allow his dad to be sad, so he built tents around my.
They tried to take him down, and that was a bad idea.
Me camping out of being in the hospital. It was a really strange experience because I was trying to overcome depression, and nearly these children were overwhelmingly happy that I had survived and had no choice but to put on a happy face. And as you look at life from paralyzed point of view, I thought I would never do that. Throwing the ball, catching the ball, throw it back, have my son climb up on my chair.
I fell over so many times.
He'd climb up into the tree and he'd get back down. And, Mom, you gotta get down on your own. And sometimes sometimes you could make it, sometimes you couldn't, just like we all did. But so I think the hardest part for them was watching me hit the ground and not being able to pick me up because they knew I had to learn how to do it on my own, just to, learn how to pick myself up from one point to another. In the beginning, muscle relaxers and anxiety medication. Anxiety was a major issue. It was constantly nerve-wracking. I could hear a snap, a little drop of a pin, and I would jump and I would think it was the cocking of a pistol or it was the cylinder turning. And things that were making me really nervous, I finally went to talk to somebody about medical cannabis. And I wasn't really sure that was going to be a way to solve problems, but it turned out to get me off of muscle relaxers. The Xanax was probably one of the major things that was killing me. Anxiety just followed every time you took a pill. Western medicine tends to...
You can attest to stress and anxiety being a killer.
Average drug. Meth, amphetamines is not your...
How many heart attacks? 3?
Drug. I mean, I remember the first time that I ever snorted cocaine. It was...
My mom's had 3.
Somewhat fun. You got into crystal meth and your grasp takes you by every fiber of your soul, and you'll spend every bit of your money, even if you don't steal for it. You will spend every penny you have on it. Pick your face to death. I did it because I needed to make it through very long shifts. I drove for a long time. There was gig after gig after gig. And being that you had to climb up into these small areas and do a concert in short periods of time, sleep wasn't an option a lot of times. And
I used to tell them drugs were a prerequisite.
My mom was the one who had to deal with probably the worst part of my drug abuse was when I came to my low just before I had gotten shot and realized that I didn't want to play around with this so-called fun drug. I actually had torn my way through a fence, and I thought that the neighbors across the way were yelling at me in Spanish, and my mom was panicking. I kept telling her to leave my house, to leave me alone, and to leave, but mothers won't leave me alone. That's what they do. She stayed there. I was breaking my way through the fence, and I remember her pulling me back. I had scrapes all over my arms.
And on my feet, man.
I turned around, hearing my mom's voice when she kind of whispered my name after screaming. I don't know how the whisper made such a shock wave through my soul, but the whisper...
Because it's your mother's voice. That's exactly why.
And I realized that I had torn apart my entire house. You see the movie Pink Floyd, I'm sure a lot of you have seen Pink Floyd, where he tears up his entire room. He puts his back together in some kind of a artsy little thing. I didn't do that. I just beat my stuff to death. It was traumatizing.
Destroyed. The whole house was just...
As I matured through my life, I even fell back on my face. A couple of times after I was paralyzed, I thought that I was going to just die anyway, so might as well go ahead and start with a fight again. And that was probably my biggest mistake and probably my best decision, was because I think I came face to face with the devil once again, and it made me realize that my children were more important than the drug itself, and that I was probably going to end up shooting myself, and I had just been shot 4 times. That's not a good conclusion to come to. On a more serious note, if you're really thinking about doing crystal meth, that's probably one of the worst drugs that you can pick out of all any drug in the entire world, including heroin. I've seen more people come off of heroin than I've seen come off of crystal meth. They are glued to it forever. Serious drugs are serious business, and you're not going to make serious money. You're going to end up being seriously dead. I've been fortunate to get a second chance and live a different life. I choose to live it positively and give people positive information. I hope that you can take this into your heart. Stay off, because I really don't want anybody to go through what I did. It was traumatic to my entire family, children. Took a lot of abuse. Time was stolen from them. If I was a thief, If anything, I was a thief of my family's time.
Yeah, I never was abusive.
From your own family.
Wasn't there at times.
And if you're
Yeah,
not
I
stealing
get
from
that.
their pocket, you're stealing their time. And the time is more valuable than anything else.
Like I fooled around with drugs when I was growing up. I didn't have any kids then, but the reason I stopped because I knew I wanted to have kids someday. And that's what got me off of all the things I was doing. I get that.
Well, I'm lucky I don't have some kind of venereal disease or something as much as I messed around, but
A couple friends, I'm with you. A couple friends of mine back in the day are like dealing with all kinds of fallout from it now. It's crazy. Well, they're still around anyways. Not to be morbid, but yeah, you were like, I liked how you phrased it. Like you were not going to make any serious money. You're just going to get seriously hurt, and you're going to wind up seriously dead.
and it's been a Breaking Bad situation. That's why it's there.
Yeah.
If you were to ask me about life, speaking of life, yes, that you happen to be in the Breaking Bad series, and I was really heavy into the methamphetamine.
He knows what we're talking about.
Started off probably a lot with the cocaine, Yeah, we were starting it, weren't more than anything. Boy, I was. Then they just started it. It was a line. Sometimes you didn't know if it was a line. Sometimes
That was the switch that killed everything.
Yeah.
The first time I ever did anything like that, it changed everything about it. At that point, it became addiction. Before, it was like I had said, a prerequisite. You went to working.
I remember it being a very small line, and I thought that the guy was.
Oh, are you talking about your first line? Yeah, I think everyone remembers their first one.
So I remember snorting in my face.
No, you don't remember yours?
But
I do. I fucked up. I fucked up bad.
As we say, there is those parties that you remember and the ones that you never forget.
Well, I will say, I remember before the party. I remember before the party. I remember when I fucked up because I was talking a big game, kind of like you with Randy Castillo, talking about him being your cousin. I was doing that and going, "Oh yeah, man, I party harder than anybody here." And they went, "All right, cool. Then you'll do one of these lines." And they brought out the biggest, fattest line I had ever done. I have ever seen. And even after that, and it was my very first line, they went, "You gotta snort the whole thing." Bro, I was crying, choking, I couldn't see straight. And everything went black after that.
After I ended up being sober, I had somebody that kept offering me, "You can do it however you want, you can do it however you want." And I don't want it, man. I don't want it, over and over. I said, but he said, "Just come on, man. Are you a snitch? Are you a narc? What? And I said, so I put my nose down and I went, and I blew it off.
Oh, God.
And he goes, "My shit, man." And I said, "Man, you told me I could do it however I wanted. I did it however I wanted." And
I love your spunk. I love your spunk.
Started a hell of a brawl, man, and being in the bouncing profession for all this time, I don't know if it shows, but yeah, the bouncing world was probably what saved my life because of all of the experience I had in different martial arts. Mixed martial arts wasn't something that was there yet. It was a concept. A lot of people were messing around with it in the age of 71 to 81, all the big boys. We just lost Chuck Norris, and
yeah,
that's probably one of the things I remember we going in the yard.
I saw.
You don't even have any idea, but you're like, I gotta figure this out.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You speaking of Chuck Norris, I heard one the other day that said the caption on the post said, "Today we lost Chuck Norris," and underneath it said, "We didn't lose Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris left us." He got tired of our crap.
Well, I gotta say, he sure put a lot of smiles on people's faces. He did such things that's probably one of the reasons why most musicians or stars try to give back anything that they end up losing out on in the long run, or give back, push forward, however you really want to look at it. I just became an advocate after I was injured, and people weren't looking at me the same, and they just weren't talking to me the same. And it wasn't really bad. It was starting to get to be an issue. So I was turning into a real angry individual. And like I say in the video, I was pissed off if you could walk. So if you could walk from point A to point B and get back over there, I was already pissed off about it in the first place. So
yeah, just a lot of hate in your heart kind of thing.
Yeah, well, for the first part of my recovery was being mad at the world, being mad at God. You know, Pantera sure says it with the most emphasis, is mad at God. I can't even scream that, you know, in that emphasis with that much anger. He makes me feel like I don't even have that much anger, and I have that much anger in me. So Phil Anselmo's just a projection king, you know.
Yeah, I get that. I don't have an experience anywhere near yours, and I don't. My story, I'm not telling it to compare at all. In 2010, I was in a pretty bad car accident, and it shoved my femur through my pelvic bone. So they had to. I spent 3 months in the hospital getting reconstructive surgery, and another 3 months relearning how to walk. But for the first, I don't know, probably about 3.5, 4 months of that process, I was in a wheelchair. And I didn't have the anger, right? Because it was an accident, it was a car accident, it was my fault in the car accident, so I had no one to blame but myself for it. But I remember seeing friends, and all they wanted to do was come behind me, grab the wheelchair, and push me around. And I hated that so much. I get a tiny taste of.
Look at the back of my wheelchair.
Yeah, no handles.
That was the first thing that I had taken off of the wheelchair, was so that way I wouldn't have anybody offering that. And it was a very bad thing to do, because now when I actually need a little bit of help, nobody has anything to help push me.
Yeah, they just got to push on your shoulders, and instead of helping a lot good, you're just bending over.
Right out, man. Yeah. This isn't prison sex, you know? So the whole fucking thing is that you're over here doing what you need to do to get one way over. I've already bent over enough for the world, you know?
I was not ready for that. Okay.
All you got to do is listen to Sober and all the stuff that they write about on that album is disturbing. But I guarantee you, if you were to look back at the album and listen to what they're talking about, you wouldn't let your children listen to it. Well, you may have changed your mind. You might have changed your mind on listening to it yourself.
Yeah, right.
You know?
So let's talk a little bit about your drum setup. I'd love to learn more about some of the, you call it hot rodding your kit when you're manufacturing or customizing your kit to your fit. We saw some of it earlier, and I think we have some clips from earlier that we can show as well. But I love, you talked about playing with triggers. You kind of demonstrated the mouth gadget that you have for using the kick drum. Is that what you use regularly now, or are you using something else?
I actually don't use that technique very often because of TMJ. It's your jaw takes enough beating getting punched on.
Oh, I get that.
So this is one of the things that I've come up with what I call kind of hot rodding or MacGyvering. There's a guy on Facebook that has a pretty cool little group on it called Root Hog or Die. That's me, by the way.
Okay.
And you can see me there, and I take all these hot rod ideas and put them out there for people to really use them. But MacGyver, Percussion MacGyver does about the same thing. You got a lot of people on there, but you can see that this is just a cheap boom stand. But right here, where the shaft for your threads come out here, I just cut them off. And the reason that I did that was because with this drum mounting system here, they're little, I guess they're made out of aluminum, little rods that stick in here, and they don't stay there. So getting anything into a area where it would stay for me, that was the first thing. But then as I looked at it a little bit, it came out to work really well. So you can turn it and just
create the angle and height and everything you want. You can literally place it anywhere in the space.
Yeah, and sometimes you can tend to set it up even as a ride. You know, you don't have to designate a pad or a cymbal. It can be designated to anything you want.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the things. That's one of the things about adaptive drumming, because one of the biggest, I guess, the biggest adaptive drummer that I can actually think about is, his name just from Tool. I was just talking about it.
Danny Carey?
Yes, because if you look at the way that he has hot rodded his kit, he's made a true hybrid universe for himself, and that's what I have done here, is create a universe for myself, and that way I can kind of keep myself in keep myself in a good mood when I'm playing. I'm not always in a good mood, of course. You know, anybody that said they're in, always in a good mood is definitely lying to you. But each electronic drum that I use, I'm actually using 4 different modules. So I use a module from a Locato. And these things are really crazy because these are just triggers that are 1 block, and it's about 4 inches by a 2-inch block plugged in here. And so they've got a really good sound to them.
It kind of occupies the same amount of space as like a small cowbell, or even smaller. It looks like a block, really, like the little like blocks. I can't make the sound, obviously, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Okay.
Well, we were talking about.
We can imagine.
Well, we were talking about speaking drum language, and is one of them.
Yeah, there you go.
But the
Druminese.
the technique. That's a good one. We could translate for you here. That means 4/4 time. So that's not 4/4 time, dude. But anyways, I think anybody can split up anything into 4/4 time. But one thing that I've done here is utilize the trigger with my hand and be able to play. So sometimes I'm not always using one technique or another. When you utilize it here, you actually have to be doing like, and you get a lot of false triggers.
I can see that, yeah.
There's a lot of people that are working with it, and I'm actually one of the individuals that is working on something. So this is a way for me to get back on your show anyway. I have that in the process, as I was saying on my video. But finally, technology is getting to the point where we can use it in a good way. But then that drum set helps me keep this, since I can't play really with the hi-hat. I have different hi-hats around here doing different tricks and different things that allow me to sound like I'm doing an open and closed hi-hat situation, but this actually gives a way to do it. RFA1.
Now, see, that's something I never thought about, because when you think about being a handy-capable drummer, I'm going to try and do my very best to make sure that I use that phrasing, because I really like it. I think it's important to stick with that. But the first thing you think of is, oh man, what about the bass drum? What about that? But no one ever takes into account, like, what about the hat? The hat's just as important. And so that was interesting to see you demonstrate that.
It's something that I kind of learned from Keith Moon in one of his albums. I believe it was probably at the end towards Tommy, that he actually took the hi-hat completely away from his set, so that way he could learn how to play different funkier rhythms to what more funky, how much more funky can the guy get?
Keith Moon
kicking his drum set. But anyways, that was what his excuse was for it, and that worked for me. But as time turned around, I realized that this Here's what a hi-hat sounds like. How are you going to play with sounds just like a cymbal, you know?
Yeah.
So you're not really getting an open and close down, but you can choke it doing a choke, something like this. But I just never found it to be all that useful. I still use the technique because there's times that any technique can be useful. If you watch Randy Castillo, speaking of Randy Castillo,
Yeah.
one of his videos that he does for, I think it's one of the last solos he plays with Ozzy, and it might be Aletha Ford, so you can double check on it. But he adapted using a lot of the side drums. So here behind me, I don't utilize these bass drums, as you can tell. You know, my feet don't operate. I used to actually hit the drums, flipping, boom, 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 things like that.
That's an interesting approach.
It turned out to be that, you know, you don't want to take too many chances and then drop your stick because your dog's not going to come and pick them up for you.
Yeah. So, I was going to say, like, I can see, like, because now you're messing with your grip. So by flipping the stick like that, you are risking that
right.
That moment.
And I don't mean to turn my back on you guys.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine.
The way that I can do any of my clinics is to actually turn the drum set around. Most people perform their clinics with their drums facing the crowd, and you're not going to get too much unless they have cameras from the top sides. With, you know, we got technology now. But what I did to make things accessible, and I put bass drums. So I have them everywhere, basically. So if I'm going to play on this particular kit, which is my percussion kit, and for playing things like this, I guess, if you know. Your accent. So you have this side for my percussion, Latin percussion, gives you a feel for Santana, anything that's reggae usually supports that. These are really big sounds. Now, one thing that I want to tell people about, honestly, is you don't have to spend your life savings on building a kit like this. I've really utilized a lot of aftermarket parts.
Yeah.
I've utilized some of probably the least expensive cymbals, and I'm going to leave that up to people to see if they can figure out what I'm using. There's a lot of hidden gems in here, but somebody during COVID, they were nice enough to shut down their pawn shop when I was down and dirty and kept a lot of my firearms that got me into a mental state to where I wasn't having that issue of jumping every time.
Yeah.
And also took away my soul. But I ended up having a gig at that time, so I went and I purchased some very low-end cymbals. And I really don't know if you're going to hear a whole lot of difference. But let me see what you guys think. Try to go turning my back on you again. You know. But as I said, each stick do something. my clanker. But when it came to putting these cymbals together, I was very, very surprised. And when you get people that comment it, hopefully we'll let them know after that. Me and you have already discussed it.
All right, so challenge for our viewers in the comments, see if you can figure out what kind of symbols he's using. And yeah, that's
Round.
They're metal.
Hey, you stole my joke. I was going to say I'll give you a hint. They're round, and they're made out of bronze. They're made out of bronze.
Oh, that's awesome.
When it came time to
B8 or
do
B20.
the podcast, I actually used 7/8. No, I'm just kidding. Here's a joke for you guys. When I was talking to the cigar guru from Perdomo Cigars, he offered to send me some cigars and asked me what kind of sticks I would like. And I said, I only use ProMark because I'm signed by them. Well, he's also a drummer, so he understood the fact that a cigar is called a stick. And we just had a real big laugh over it. But I thought it was funny because I went, oh, stick, not stick, you know?
Stick. No. I
But what
regret
I
doing
like
that. It
about you
feels really
guys'
better.
company is taking the time to redo these drum sets. I've seen some pretty impressive things on your site. And the girl, what was her name? Was she from Turkey?
Oh, Sine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, Sine, I'm so sorry. I can't remember your last name right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I feel so terrible. I was just working with some clips from her episode 2. Hold on, let me pull it up.
Talk about putting you on the spot.
I know,
Yeah.
right? How could you do this to me, Roman? I'm just kidding. You're fine.
Well, this actually goes to show you how well of a producer you are, or how good of a producer you can be.
If you can find it quick.
And now I
enough.
know, right? Now you put me even more on the spot. Oh my gosh, pressure is on. Leon Sine.
Yeah.
Sine was her last name.
Leon
Sine. Yes.
I've
from
heard a lot
Turkey.
of really good things about her.
Dude,
And
she's so sweet. I hope you get to come out to Nashville because I hope she's there again. I'd love to introduce you to her. She's such a sweetheart, and she's such a badass too.
Yeah, she was.
Dude,
she was
oh
good.
my gosh, I've seen some of her drum videos, and oh my god, she's a badass.
Yeah, neither one of us really knew who she was till we met her.
Yeah.
And she did a clinic there, and it was
It was impressive.
eye-opening. You know, I was like, damn, I didn't expect
and
this.
Sine, what I'm about to say, if you're watching Sine, she comes off so sweet and so excited that your brain instantly goes, oh, she just must be like a fan or a newbie. And then she gets up there and just owns the drums in such a big way. And you're like, holy fucking shit. All right, well, I'm going to put my sticks away.
Well,
No, I'm not
we're
going to put it away.
lucky to
Just
live in
going to
this
practice.
age. We got people that are 5 years old that are playing blast beats that we couldn't play at 15 years of education.
Yeah.
But speaking of speed and dynamic, that was one of the reasons why I use these particular mesh heads, is because it allows you to get really, really, really
Good rebound.
heavy, and you can get a nice rebound from them. And one thing I always have to remember is to make sure to lock my drums. I've been playing and ended up in the kitchen, while I'm working.
No,
But
I get that. Like I bought an electric kit because I lived in a small house with some roommates. I didn't want to bother them, so I had a small electric Roland drum kit, and it was rubber. And then my son now, I believe his are mesh, and it just feels and plays so much smoother because you get that nice rebound off of it.
Yes, and if you noticed, I still kept the old ones even though I'm using the new ones, because you can always utilize them for certain things. Get yourself, not a sponsor, but Easy Drummer will get you a lot of sounds to work on, and you wouldn't have to use as many different systems as I do.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
one over here to control one side, one over here to control this side. This is actually a C drum set that I put 2 sets together. This is the double drive from PDP, 7-piece double bass kit, and I have 2 kits. And over there on the other side, I still have 2 bass drums. they mount up here on the top. So I've always played monster drum kits. I've always utilized them. I don't believe you need one. If you watch my very first video, you see it's only a 5-piece kit. It's technically 5-piece, but it's set up as a 4-piece kit with an extra floor tom on the side.
Yeah.
And that's the way I used to do was instead of it being there. But adding a lot of stuff that, I get asked to play hot for teachers, and I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah.
Now, I have a problem playing the rides. So a lot of the stuff that I do with double bassing, I try to put in something and make something sound in there with the ride. I've been asked about looping, but a lot of times looping just gets you in trouble.
Yeah.
But one thing about using the electronic drum set is it makes your thing sound really, really big. Is you get nice sound. Everybody loves it. But he actually is playing, of course. And then, he's actually playing on something more like, so he's doing. So he's got, let's see if I can do that right. Where is it? Let's see. Stay here. There we go. So I have to do it a little bit different. Remember, he's a left-handed player.
Well, yeah, no, you're not wrong, and that actually kind of leads me into the next question I was going to ask you. In this journey of sort of rediscovering yourself as a drummer and having to hot rod your kits, I'm going to use your phrase, to hot rod your kits, to modify it, to be able to play everything that you want to play. Have you found that in that journey that maybe breaking away from the conventionalism of the traditional 5-piece kit with the kick here and the hi-hat pedal and the snare and then all your toms lined up? Have you found that having to change all that has opened up a world of freedom and creativity for you, being able to go, I can place a drum anywhere I want to, and then figure out what works the best for you? Have you found that to be kind of the case?
Yes, it makes for a really interesting drum solo. You have everything at your sight and your reach from your stick. Depending on what rudimentary styles you're using, covering the drum set can be easier, especially if you're like me. I'm ambidextrous. I can play, and this is thanks to Nick Lucchetti. He's that's Lucchetti, Lucchetti, not Lucchetti.
Yeah.
But the man was a stickler for making you play everything you did with your right hand with your left foot, play everything you played with your left hand with your right foot, and then play everything with your hands with your both feet. So you were playing, and then so you're having to use your bass drums at the same time. And sometimes he was having you do doubles, triples, bounces, paradiddles. So if you were learning how to do a paradiddle, right, left, right, left, right, left with your feet, you better be able to do it with your hands, right, left, left. And he wanted it to be perfectly symmetrical, which is very hard to accomplish as a drummer, to get one thing symmetrical and have a really, really interesting flow of your sounds. But when that all stopped for the feet, I think that's the reason why I was able to go ahead and proceed. But I did have to break the drum set down to playing on the 4-piece with the extra floor tom to remember how to play correctly. And for probably about the first year, maybe 2 years, I was probably half a second, maybe quarter of a second off when I would send a message from my brain to my right arm to operate the kick drum. And so that's why I actually stopped calling it a bass drum, is just using it in the video saying that's why I stopped calling it a kick drum and started just calling it the bass drum, is so that I can actually phrase it to somebody who does play using their feet.
No, that's fair. I called it a kick drum forever until recently when Roadkill here was like, no, it's a bass drum. And I was like, okay. It's a bass drum.
Unless you want to call the kick drum, I don't care. Whatever.
He's my father-in-law. I got to try to make him a little happy, right?
Well, he's quite the chatterbox. I got to give it to him. He's definitely got some chattering going on there.
Yep.
I think he's more like he's locked in on the screen and he's looking at every single one of your drums and he's trying to figure out the size. He's trying to figure, is that a wrap? Is that paint? He's looking at. I can see your brain working and you're picking it apart. And I know this because I'm married to your daughter. And she does this stuff with like fish and aquariums and things like that. And I'll be like, would you just enjoy the view? And she goes, but that's this kind of fish and they did this kind of water. And I'm like, oh, okay. So
I'm just looking at the symbols thinking how much money she can make turning those into jewelry.
I think this is very ironic. Both of you doing artwork that's very similar to things that I have done in my past, which has made me interested in talking to you too. Putting some of the artwork back together after I saw some of your furniture and stuff, it re-sparked a new creative side of me. I do some carving. Of all things, I make walking sticks.
that's awesome.
Grabbers.
Yeah, don't give up hope,
Yeah. Hey man, you'll need them again someday, right? Like you'll get there. You'll get there.
The thing is that I got a little baby boot and I put it at the bottom and that way I carry it around when somebody gets on my bad side and tell them, don't make me put my boot up your ass.
I have a good friend of mine in Georgia. His name's Kirby. Kirby, if you're watching, love you, bud. And I forgive me, I don't remember his condition. He was born with a condition that has had him in a wheelchair almost his entire life.
Right.
And we worked together at the Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta at the time. And one of our coworkers made some sort of joke made him a joke, like a butt of a friendly joke, and. He just goes, watch out, man, I'll kick your ass. And then he stands up and he just kind of goes, all I gotta do is run away. And he goes, yep, that's exactly what's about to happen. You're gonna run that way and I'm gonna kick your ass. And he goes, why that way? And he goes, because it's downhill and I don't have to focus on pushing. I can just sit back and watch the terror on your face as I mow your ass over.
There's an unfortunate thing about being in a wheelchair is there are people in this world that will try to take advantage of you. I was in my manual chair one time that individual in my own house threatened me and said some pretty horrible shit, but he ended up leaving my house with blood trails like if there was a dead animal and even called the police. And I was watching the police going into his neighbor's yard, my neighbor's yard, and his brother lived right next to each other. And it turns out that he had... dumbass had been drunk and he went and passed out, half drunk, half beaten, and almost died. So I was not very proud of that in one way, but I was proud that I got this guy out of the door and could still defend myself, because that was one of the things that being a parent of any parent, you want to make sure that you can defend your children first and foremost.
And I was going to say the exact same thing and be like, look, man, I don't know how you're feeling now, but I would have told you in the moment, like, dude, you did what you had to do, and there's nothing you did wrong. I stand by what you did 100%.
I remember thinking that the officers might come by and come and ask me something, but they never did. So apparently he must have told them the truth, that he was in my house and overstepping his boundaries. But unfortunate situation when I was getting my mail or getting my money to pay my rent. I was in my power chair. That guy hit me in the side of the head, yanked my money off, and he was a Sereno. So he was a gang member with a tattooed face. And he hit me so hard it spun me and then was hitting me, and I realized that my hands still worked. So I started to try to defend myself, and he ran. Well, I realized that my wheelchair does 15 miles an hour, so I ran after him in my wheelchair. And boy, he ran, and he ran, and he ran, and he ran, and he ran out And then I jumped out of the wheelchair, and when the police got there, there was a paralyzed man on top of a man not moving, and they didn't know which one of us was the one who called the police. And I said, it's the guy that's not moving his legs. I'm the guy that's not moving his legs. So it was a pretty interesting situation. But I also had one that was a really funny situation. There's a guy on a biker, I call him a new age biker because a fair weather biker kind of guy.
Yeah.
Passed me on his brand new, it was probably about a 90, I don't know, what was it? Those 880s or something like that. 80, I can't remember what it is.
I mean,
883.
Yeah, I was gonna say
883. I think that's what it was. And anyway, he honked at me just about, blew me off the road, and scared me to death. But then he took off. Well, he went one way. I cut across the parking lot and caught up with one on the other side and told him, "Man, you better not pull that shit, you fair weather biker. Somebody's gonna catch you and tear you apart." And he was like, "Holy shit, man, you scared the hell out of me." And I said, "Good, because you learned a lesson today, man, and don't take advantage of somebody and make them feel very, very, very scared, because when you scare somebody, they're probably the most dangerous individual that you're ever going to run across, is somebody that's fearing for their life. Fight or flight is no thing to joke about."
Yeah, it doesn't matter if their fear is justified or not. If someone's afraid, that's a dangerous person to be around, period. I'm with you.
The individual that shot me looked like he was in a bad accident, and I never took any of the bullets to the back. I was actually put up in assassination, and first that shot, that misfire, gave my opportunity to do the rig strike, and shot me twice in my neck. And let me see if I don't lose my headset.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
The thing is that it missed one side of my jugular and then missed the other side of my jugular. So where are the exit wounds on this side of my neck? If nobody has any idea, and I'm not going to doubt what I have as far as my faith, I know that there's no holes in my neck.
Yeah.
But he shot me in the shoulder, and I had already hit him and knocked his jaw pretty much off. They said he looked like a bad car accident, as I said. But that was the one that paralyzed me. It hit my spinal cord, dropped me, and then I got shot in the head. But I'm very, very lucky that I do have my mind. My grandmother told me, she says, "You know what, you're very lucky, and God blessed you, and you should be thankful." And I was really, really thankful, because I had a pretty much crazy experience which led me to believe more in my faith. But I can go into detail about being in the hospital and seeing people that had died there, and children that had passed away, and there were entities there, and I was shocked by them, talking to them, and people thought I was on morphine high, or because of the morphine.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out I saw some pretty seriously effective advising individuals. These ghosts kind of gave me some individual experiences. You know, this little girl was just jumping her rope and singing, and I thought I was on the floor. And I asked my mom, "What am I doing on the floor, and where's that little girl?" And she says, "What?" And I said, "Where's that little girl?" She's just thinking I'm kind of in La La Land. And sure enough, the little girl jumps the rope and says everything's going to be fine, and jumps through the window and disappeared. So I thought, something is going on. I was in a coma. I had no idea that I was coming in and out of a coma.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing was, I didn't really have my faith in anything in general, really. But when something like this happens and you see the devil reaching for your heart, and I mean, the hideousness of the devil and the beauty of the devil that I saw, I can't even begin to write or paint a picture. I can't write you a song. But when it got within about an inch of my heart here, all of a sudden there was this other entity, which I came to figure was Archangel Michael.
Yeah.
And he said, not this one. It looked like he was going to pull his sword and fucking wave the devil, man. And all of a sudden he said, not this one. And the devil shrank into a little tiny little thin head into the corner and kept screaming, I'm going to get you one of these days, Roman. I'm going to get you one of these days. And he shrunk and turned into dust. And I woke up, and that's when I saw my mom. And it was like from that point on, I knew that I was here for a reason, whether it was for me to go and tell people that I had faith. That wasn't what came about. But what did come about was that there were miracles, whether they were mechanical, technology, faith, spiritual. You got to put them all together and utilize them, especially when you're in any kind of situation like I am. And trust me, tomorrow I'll be crying because something will not work for me, and I will deal with it at that time.
Yeah.
But when it comes to being strong, teach that to your children, teach that to your students, teach that to yourself. You're really, really doing well with your drums. They're beautiful. I've seen already 3 kids that seem to have walked themselves away. No, that's a good way to put it. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bud. Well, I think that's a beautiful note to end on right there. So let's, do you have any sponsors that you'd like to plug for us real fast? I'll make sure your channels and everything are linked into the video here below as well.
No, I don't have any sponsors. If they want to sponsor me, they can come and get me.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll tell you one thing about sponsors is they don't tell you that you got to pay for your shit first before you get sponsored.
Yeah.
You know. And that's I've
been doing this shit wrong.
That's a misconception that people buy their stuff. You know, I thought I was going to get all my free stuff, but I hope you're utilizing your talents the right way, man. You and your chatterbox.
Yeah.
Must be giving shit away, I guess.
All right, I think we owe some people some phone calls.
We're good.
I'm just kidding.
Ladies
and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on the Roadkill Drums podcast. Very special edition, joined today by Mr. Roman Castillo, calling in all the way from out west. Thank you for joining us today, sir, and sharing your amazing story and your cool, badass drum kit. We look forward to seeing you again on the show soon, brother.
Oh, hey, I wanted to tell you, since you were trying to figure out what sizes they are, they're 210s, 2 8s, 210s, 212s, 214s, 216s, 218s, 222s, 224s, a whole electronic drum set. All of them are 8-inch. And I hope that's enough drums for today anyway. But remember, if you can figure out what cymbals that they are, I will be impressed because nobody's guessed correctly yet.
Well, we'll keep an eye on those comments, and you let us know if you see the right answer in the comments. All right, brother?
Right on. Rock and roll, and you guys take care of yourself, okay?
Rock and roll. God bless. Give our blessings and love to your mother as well, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, man?
I will let her know, man.
I'm looking forward to that salsa, by the way. Whenever we get to meet, I'm looking forward to that salsa.
I might do you one special and send you something. You better get me an address before I don't feel generous anymore.
I'll send it to you as soon as we can, all right? Have a good night, man.
All right. We'll see you.
You take care of yourself.
You too.
Bye.
I want to bang a drum.